a 1-2. What you want to do? All right. We are washed out. Super bright. Let's see here. Okay. We're going to roll with it, yo. I guess let's get it. It's time to start rolling on Spoon. So we're just going to roll. And I gotta turn this off. I can't be looking at this. Let's make this small and in the corner. We don't need to see none of that. And this is what we want to see mainly. All right, mic check, 1, 2. We are rolling on Spoon. Baby Chan, Frankie, welcome. Thank you so much for being here as I get myself together. Hope that you are doing well. I got to get my tunes set up. Hopefully we can keep everything smooth. And then my system can handle all that I'm trying to throw at it right now. Spooky bass, spooky bass. Welcome. Great to see you. I hope that your Friday evening is to your liking. You can get a level check. Let me know how we sound. I guess we should be okay. All right. How are we sounding out there? Mr. Ant Capone is in the building. Great to see you. You are tuned in to Writer's Room. My name is Jared, and I'm super excited to have you here. I need to put my eyes on so that I can see how everyone is coming into room and what everybody is saying. Friday, September the 11th, 2020. The vibes might be a bit more upbeat in comparison, but would it be possible for me to join the call? Well, we are just getting started, and we will have the lines open for you to share shortly. So hang out, let me get situated, and we'll be ready to take your call in the next few minutes. In the meantime, get to know some of the cool people who are in the room. Right now, we have Frankie in the room, Aunt Capone, Christopher, aka Flipper, and I'm your host, G Forte. You'll also see a writer's room character in the space who will be sharing writing prompts and other things throughout the night. So this is a great time if you have a notepad, if you have a pen, it's a great time to take that out now. You can go ahead and use this as an opportunity to actually work on some things. Not only is it a space where you can call in to share, it's also a way that you can put a little appointment on the calendar with yourself to give you the opportunity to say, okay, right now, this is the time that I'm going to dedicate to my own creative work, whether that be writing, whether that be visual art, whether that be planning an audio experience, music, whatever it is that you use to create, however you choose to express yourself. This is a great opportunity for you to check in as the week comes to the close for most of us and end it on a positive and honest and creative note. So that's what we are about. Keigo Takami is in the house. I don't know if we've met before, but I'm glad that you found us, and I hope that you find the vibes here favorable and that you can get with what we're putting down. I want to take a second to share the link over in Discord to let folks know that we are live. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for folks to get up in here. So I want to give everyone an opportunity before I get too deep into our conversation. We are also live on YouTube right now. I'm not paying a whole lot of attention over there at the moment, but once I get situated, I will pop over there to see if there are any comments. So if you are watching as well as listening, thank you so much for taking the time to spend your Friday with me. And because we're on YouTube, all of the music that you're hearing, I put together for the purpose of this stream so that we won't run into any issues with copyright. You dig? Thank you so much for the likes, and thank you so much for being here. All right, let's take a quick breath. So you may absolutely record. Anytime that you're on the call, feel free to record. And thank you for reminding me. Thank you for reminding me to save this as a cast. Even though I am recorded on YouTube, it's nice to have it as a cast. So Friday, September 11th, 2020. Depending on how old you are and where you were in the world, Uh-oh, I got an unstable connection. I got a note that said I had an unstable connection. Is everyone with me? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. I was saying that depending on how old you are and where you were in the world, the date September 11th might mean different things to different people. I know on September 11th, 2001, I was actually in Germany, and I was at a training for small weapons when the events happened that September 11th had become known for. And I think the fact that I was not in the United States when September 11th happened has really shaped my perception and understanding of the significance of that event to a large degree. I mean, it had a direct impact on me because I was a soldier. And the implications for me were that my life as I saw it, as someone who was transitioning away from the Army and moving into other things, that was all about to come to a change. But I wasn't here for that moment of supposedly, from what I hear, of people galvanizing and coming together. I wasn't present for the 24-hour news cycle. I wasn't around for the political rhetoric. I wasn't around for any of that. I was just out in the world. I was in the world in a place where people's perceptions of that event were less emotionally charged and more sort of matter of fact. I was around people for whom terrorism has been a part of their lives. I was around people who existed in unstable regimes growing up. And as shocking as that event was for so many people, here, if you survived a genocide and you survived as a refugee, then your emotional meter is a little bit different than someone who has really only known peace from a geopolitical standpoint. So I want to talk about what it means to know peace. What does it mean to know peace in a time, in a world where it seems like peace is such an elusive concept? How do we know it and what does it mean? So if you want to take a second and think what it means to know peace and what are some of the ways that you find it. For me, I know yesterday was a day that I needed to try to find some peace. I felt exhausted. And as much as I felt like I needed to do, I was too unsettled in my mind to really feel like I could give it my best, you know? I didn't, and even as I sat still, I didn't necessarily experience peace. It was like things can weigh on you and you feel like, okay, there's this list of things that I need to do. And if I don't do them, then the consequences for me later will be something that I can't bear. But as a wise person told me yesterday, you have to listen to your body. And I slept and I slept and I slept. And so many of the things that I felt like I needed to get done, I said, well, they're not going to get done today. And I slept and I woke up this morning and I said, okay, it's 7 o'clock. I feel rested. Let's see what happens. And I was able to sit down and I got into flow and time just melted. And as intensive as the work was, I found peace in the process. I found peace in the task at hand. I didn't feel hurried or worried or stressed about it. And as a result, as the result of working from a place of, coming from a still place, I was able to do so much more than had I tried to fight myself to get things done when it wasn't there. So finding peace, let's think about that. Let's reflect on that. And I want to take a second now and take our first call, as everyone thinks I need to put the phone down so I can type some prompts. But we do have some calls on the line. First, we have Frankie. Everyone give it up for Frankie. Hopefully. Sometimes the connection is slow. Uh-oh. Let's try again. It could be the case that sometimes when the connection is slow, it's hard to get on. We'll give it one more second. All right. So let's hear from Christopher. What's up, Christopher?
So I'm going to do a speech about the waiting rooms that you and I have been doing.
All right. Okay, let's hear it.
And the question I have is, why did you start the waiting room?
So why did I start this stream? Why did I start doing this? Well, I think it was mainly as a bit of accountability for myself to have a place to check in and to kind of commune with other creative people. I kind of created the space that I felt like I needed given the projects that I have going on. And I know that working in community is something that I thrive on. And I felt really isolated given the circumstances. I wasn't able to be around the artists that I usually am around. I wasn't able to teach face to face. So I knew that I needed some way to make connections with people so that I could renew my own creative energy and maybe find a way to kind of be of use to other people. at the same time. So yeah, that's why I did it. And it wasn't something that I did a lot of premeditating. It was like on a Friday afternoon, I was sitting outside having a smoke, and I was like, I was reading, and as I was reading, sort of like the ideas were kind of jumping out at me, and I was sort of excited about putting some of the ideas to use. But I was like, well, maybe I can share some of these ideas with other people. And here we are, 25 sessions later. Do you have any other questions about it?
This is a speech question. So, do you think it's easier to give an informative speech or persuasive speech?
Do I think it's easier to give an informative speech or persuasive speech? Well, I guess it depends on how passionate I am about the subject. Um, if I'm really passionate, I can be extremely persuasive. If it's something that's really meaningful to me, I can be really persuasive. And I can't help but be persuasive um, if I'm trying to win over hearts and minds, um, or bodies, whatever. um, I, I naturally kind of default to being persuasive. So yeah, I think it's easier for me. In information, I feel like um, I always want to infuse information with a little bit of persuasion. Even if it's just persuading you to do something with the information, it's just kind of a natural part of my way of speaking. I guess it's just that preacher's kid in me. You have another question?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. I'm here. If you haven't, I know you tried to reach out to me over Discord. It's sometimes difficult to get a hold of me during the week. My schedule's a little crazy, so I'm glad that you called in to ask those questions. So, yeah, I'm excited to hear what you do with the information that I just gave you.
I'll put it into informative speech, which is funny because the speech is on Thursday, the 24th.
Okay, so you got a couple weeks. So we'll get an update next week and see how far you go with it.
And Thursday is right before the next Whiten Room.
Yeah, that'll be really good. You can get some feedback, and then next time we'll get to hear how it goes. All right. Well, it sounds like you got some stuff going on over there. So thanks so much for calling in.
You're welcome.
And if you have work to share, feel free to call back in later.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. Hands together, distinguished guests for Christopher. And we want to wish Christopher the best of luck on his upcoming academic endeavors. And I'm glad to know that he's able to apply and use the things that the time that he spends here with us towards his school. So we were talking about finding peace, and as much as I enjoyed, the rest that I took yesterday, I enjoyed the work that I did today even more. Sometimes the most energizing thing that we can do is not to just stand. Sometimes the most energizing things we do are things that engage us emotionally, creatively, and today was one of those days where like time melted, and I looked up, I hadn't eaten anything. It was just like deeply in flow. It was it was a really great day. And I have to remind myself that these types of days are possible only when we kind of let go a little bit. Even though there were stakes involved in getting things done, we can't let the pressure of the work rob us of the joy that we experience in the work. We forget how much pleasure we can find in the things that we do when we wrap the emotional and psychological and financial and all the different stakes that we can wrap up in what it is that we do. We forget that, I actually like doing this. I'm blessed, as Cage would put it, blessed and highly favored. I'm blessed to be in a position where I can do this, and sometimes we can feel oppressed by our blessings because of the way that we are oriented towards the things that are in front of us. Sometimes we need the wind at our back. Sometimes we need to feel the breeze in our face, but the wind is always moving. It's our job to position ourselves in relation to it to take us in the direction that it goes. We can't control it. And when we fight it, it can wreck us. And there's nothing less peaceful than a stormy sea. That's the ultimate metaphor of no peace. So finding peace is really not about operating in the universe anywhere outside of ourselves. Finding peace is about orienting ourselves to the wind to take us into a direction, into a place where we can find safety, even in the most perilous circumstances. There is a cave that we can hide in. There's a place we can go inside of ourselves that can give us shelter. So shelter and peace, they kind of go together, right? Like that's the function of shelter in our lives, is to give us a place where we can rest. We don't want to rest in peace. That sounds sort of final, but we want to rest with peace. And as I mentioned, 19 years ago on this significant day, I was doing the Army's business. I was studying war. And the irony is not lost on me that some of the most peaceful nights I've slept and some of the most peaceful moments I've experienced were in those zones where the business had nothing to do with peace. I guess it's just further evidence that we have the capacity as humans and as connected beings, we have this incredible, miraculous capacity to experience any of the range of emotions, independent of whatever the circumstances are. There is this capacity that we have that's miraculous, that can shelter us from the torrents with this magic trick of changing the mind. And it's so hard to, we can't always be in touch with that. But when we can be, when we do have those moments where when we can break ourselves free of the incessant chain of thoughts that are interrupting us and occupying us and throwing us against the stones, when we can step out of that and take a breath and be, it's amazing. It's an amazing experience. And it's like right there at hand all the time when we can access that peace somehow, So as I mentioned before, the lines are open for anyone who would like to share. If anyone else would like to share, I know that Frankie kind of accidentally called in. I was excited because I thought I was going to get to hear something, but maybe one day. I'm going to take a quick moment to peek over. I will peek at YouTube to make sure there's no comments over there. We are streaming on YouTube right now. So if you would like to see me sweat profusely and hold the phone up to my face as I talk, you could do that. Otherwise, you're welcome to just hang right here with me. All right. Looks like we're doing okay. Mez, it's great to see you. I noticed that you came in. I know that you are in the cut. It's always great to see you come through. I think it was probably last week when I had the distinct privilege to catch the I had the distinct privilege to catch the stream that you did with Frankie about bonds and how to cut those bonds and how to mend those bonds. I was only able to capture the last 20 minutes or so, but it was a great conversation, and I look forward to maybe y'all have an opportunity to get together again to spread some of that information and those ideas. I am currently overwhelmed with screens, so I need to take a second here and find my notes so that we can get back on track. Okay, I think I found something here. So one of the things that I had to sacrifice when, so I want to back up a little bit and go to how it came to be that I was in the Army on September 11th, 2001. It has a lot to do with kind of how I ended up in the Army in the first place. I was supposed to be out. I was in the reserves. And it just so happened that my reserve unit, I was in a reserve unit in Germany, which was a sweetheart situation. So essentially I was living in Germany. I went to drill a weekend a month. And the rest of the time I was staying in this small village called Bingen, which is right along the Rhine River right in the heart of Germany. I could walk to the Rhine River and see the vineyards on the hills across the way on the north side of the river, and ships passing through. There was a promenade right next to the water, and I took my daughter there. It seems like every day we walked along the promenade, played at the park. That was the life that we had at that moment during that time. There was a window, there was a cooling period of between 2001 and 2003 where before things actually started happening and I had to leave, but it was hanging over my head the entire time. And I didn't really have any emotional connection to America, oddly. Even though I was wearing a uniform periodically, I had lived outside of the States at that point already for 6 years. And in a way, I was more intensely American once I left than I ever felt like I was while I was here. But in another way, I was just someone living a pretty unconventional life in a strange place with a brown family in a very white village in the middle of Germany. The way that everyone looked at us, me, my daughter, my then fiance, and the way that my daughter disarmed everyone with her, the same charm that she has now. I guess for me, there wasn't anything patriotic about my situation. It was a personal situation for me. It was just a personal sacrifice, a sense of impending doom, a sense of impending peril, knowing that at any moment, I was going to have to leave, not knowing when. So I remember really being present, really cherishing all of those days, and those days from 2001, 2002, all the way up into the beginning of 2003. So much of that time is really vivid in my mind, not for any other reason than that I just didn't know when the call was going to come. And I was in a position where I wasn't sure. It looked for a moment like the call wouldn't come. It had been decided that the unit that I was in was not going to be one of the ones that was going to go. So I said, well, of course, I don't have much of a choice in the matter of, if I got to go, it is what it is. But if I didn't got to go, I don't have to go. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that at all. Thank you so much for the likes. So I need to do a quick check-in. I don't know, Frankie, are you actually calling this time? I see a call. Are you calling this time? Give me some confirmation. Um, okay. So yeah, I was waiting for the other boot to drop. I want to take a second now and we'll continue this story shortly. Keep you on the edge of your seat a little bit, but we're going to take a call from Frankie. Hopefully. Okay.
Hi,
Hi, Frankie.
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
All right. I just wanted to share a poem that I wrote a very long time ago. It's more of a story-based poem, and it's called "The Sun, the Moon, and the Tide."
Okay.
Okay, here goes. Cater. Hold on, let me close the door. My bad. Catered, the moon drifts in the emptiness, scarred with the beatings of dim shadows. His character reigned in a harsh demeanor, rust and austere. Radiating, she shines the sun and suddenly brings a light to the darkness of his ever-black sphere. He consumes her bright glare, but somehow he is always dark on one side, whispering while the sun's cascading luminescence continues to appear. I want to be cold, but I'm always burning, heated and churning. Never have I seen the universe so clear. The sun smiles her glow, a radiant stare, which she responds, "Darling, we are the same. I'm needing fire. I crave and desire to feel a warmth. This ice is severe." The moon, wanting to confess, collects words to express the unusual yearning, a love that caused nothing more than exquisite fear. He drifted, turning around the earth at its whim while they both circled the sun every day and every year. Wanting to do more for her destined love, the sun decided to change and so sent a part of her soul to the waves down below, her devotion sincere. The moon never realized her dependence on his changing form, even when he was a sliver, when he would disappear. So as the ocean, she bent to his will. She was the tide, needing the moon to control her dance, gasping to shift with him near. Rising and falling, the tide, the sun, was set ablaze, purified by the moon, obscure, brandishing, and shattering a vivid, fluorescent frontier. Sorry, it sounded a little weird.
No, absolutely. So I guess my first comment is understanding that, like, I know that you write in English clearly. And I know that a lot of times you think and dream in Spanish. I think that poem was so beautifully and carefully structured, and I'm really impressed with the. I guess there's a certain discipline and almost there's a restraint in it as well. There's sort of an emotional restraint that I kind of felt as I listened to the words themselves. Like it could have been a lot more of, like, you could have said more, and you could have said it more forcefully or more, but the restraint in the language and, the structure of it, it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Everybody, please put your hands together. Let me take a moment also to acknowledge, thanks Raven for stopping through. Let's take a second and shout out folks in the room. Right now, with us, we have Frankie, Christopher, Johnny, Cage. Raven is here for a second. Aunt Capone is here. Thanks each and every one of you thank you all for being. If you need to jet, I understand. On your march, get set. Sometimes you gotta go. Seems like I'm gonna jump into a flow, but you know how that go. You never can tell. You never can spell. Got that autocorrect on, all up in that midsection, waiting for Mez to come through and drop that anonymous verses that you heard. All right. So here is Mez. Hello, Mez.
Hello. Do you hear me okay?
I hear you perfectly.
Okay. So I was going to read something anonymous until I saw The Unknown Soldier, which was written by Billy Rose. This was a book published in 1937, so I'm not exactly sure the context of when it was written.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so The Unknown Soldier. There's a graveyard near the White House where the unknown soldier lies, and the flowers there are sprinkled with the tears from mother's eyes. I stood there not long ago with roses from the brave, for the brave, and suddenly I hear a voice speak from out the grave. I am the unknown soldier, the spirit voice began. And I think I have the right to ask some questions man to man. Are my buddies taken care of? Was their victory so sweet? Is that big reward you offered, selling pencils on the street? Did they really win the freedom they battled to achieve? Do you still respect that croix de guerre? It's French, I don't know. Above that empty sleeve. Does a gold star in the window now mean anything at all? I wonder how my old girl feels when she hears a bugle call. And that baby who sang, "Hello Central, give me no man's land," can they replace her daddy with a military band? I wonder if the profiteers have satisfied their greed. I wonder if a soldier's mother ever is in need. I wonder if the kings who planned it all are really satisfied. They played their game of checkers and 11 million died. I am the unknown soldier, and maybe I died in vain. But if I were alive and my country called, I'd do it all over again.
So my thinking is the context is the reflecting on World War I on the brink of World War II.
Right.
My great-grandfather, John Henry, was in World War I. There's this picture of him that we have at home. he's sitting in this chair, like I don't know how to describe it, but he's in his uniform and his hat is all tilted, looking like my Uncle Preston. And then, yeah, he was in World War One. My Uncle Joseph was in the Korean War. And he always used to tell all of these stories about, I mean, it was always the same group of stories, but every time we saw them, they would come up. So,
Right.
yeah, it's very much a part of my personal family history and then my father as well. He was one of those Cold War career soldiers who kind of dropped in between the conflicts. He got out before Desert Storm and he came in after Vietnam. He had a whole career of just build up in Cold War with Russia. But that was the context that kind of shaped my understanding of the world. So
Yeah, I get that. I have a long history of military on both sides of my family. Between the Marine Corps, the Army, and the Air Force. Yeah, I know that my grandpa's brother was in Germany in World War II. That's all I know. I don't even know if he was ever an American citizen, but my family doesn't talk about it.
right.
And that's some eerie knowledge to hold, to know that, I mean, he threatened his brother's life. He said, if you ever come back to Germany, because he called him a traitor, if you ever come back to Germany, I'll kill you. And that, like, blows my mind. And so when I think of the unknown soldier in today's terms, like, I think of the unknown soldiers who die on the streets from homelessness because they were addicted to opiates. Things like that. It's, I don't know, relevant.
It absolutely, I mean, there's a lot of invisible wounds.
Yeah.
And there is, and I think that one of the things that gets lost is our wellness is always, our sense of wellness is always in relation to the context that we have around us. So it's hard to, that disconnect between the hell that lives in our mind and the trauma that we experience and the seeming normalness that everyone else is going through around us, reconciling that and trying to slow the pace of your brain down to the pace of the world and dealing with the hypervigilance. I mean, that is, hypervigilance is the everlasting stain that every soldier suffers with. That's one piece.
Right.
That's one piece of PTSD that any soldier who's ever had to deploy or ever had to endure like long periods of attention, that hypervigilance, I struggle with that even today. Like, I wake up in the middle of the night with a sound. I think that it's like I jump in the middle of the night. Still now, almost 15 years later, I jump still. And we talk about finding peace and finding rest, that the accumulation, and I know that you understand, like, the accumulation of that unrest, the toll that it takes on you psychologically is devastating. And it's important.
I think we inherit our trauma too, our family's trauma. So on another level, you can relate to it, even though you didn't experience it, which is a struggle in itself. That kind of predisposes you to develop PTSD, which is interesting. They
Yeah,
used to call it shell shock. You know,
right,
that was the first term for it. And then they
right.
changed it to something else. And they just, as psychology progressed, our language for these things has kind of like covered up the problem.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I definitely can. It's a strange place to be in as a soldier, as a warrior in the modern age, holding all the complexity that you have to hold. Um, you know, it's tough to reconcile that, me looking back and all the things that I've seen, and
Yeah.
it, yeah,
Yeah, there's some things that my spouse deployed in 2015, or he came back in 2015. And he's only just recently told me he's, you know, he didn't experience nothing like, you know, it wasn't all humdrum. There's stories that he hasn't even been able to openly admit. And that's scary. I mean, he was the door gunner in a Black Hawk, as well as worked as communications sergeant first class, and that wasn't even his job rank. He had to cover his boss's rank.
right,
So he was doing both jobs for 9 months without a day off.
yeah,
The only thing he's told me is he accidentally shot a goat, and I mean that like still kills him every time he brings it up. And you know, that's not the extent of his grief, and that's hard because I see the weight it bears on him, and the fact that I can't, you know, I could only be here, but I can't experience what he experienced.
yeah, yeah. I think too, one of the significant things too is the further away from in time you get from the quote unquote inciting incident, and it's arguable how much of an inciting incident 9/11 was, but at least nominally, right after, it's you feel differently. It feels differently going into these places when there is this, um, at least there's some sort of notion that there's some threat there that you're trying to address. But
Yeah.
as more time passes and the more removed we get from the inciting incident, the more difficult it is to deal with that cognitive dissonance of, like, what is it what is going on here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and then the more you learn, the more you have to kind of try to contextualize your own experience and your role in history, kind of like where you are and what you did with
It's
people.
true. Right. And when getting therapy for PTSD, yeah, I kind of had to backtrack and look at, you know, my relationships, how I interacted with people, and understanding it from a different point of view. And that's really hard, though, that first step into it. But it takes a lot of time. It's really painful because you have to relive it, and the longer you've gone since you had the experience, the event or trauma, which could even be a period of time that's longer than, you know, just a car accident or something. Yeah, the harder it is to dig up. But that's our brain's natural mechanism to just try to protect us.
Right, yeah, it's trying to protect us, and meanwhile is wreaking havoc on our relationships, and like it's trying to protect us from the acute trauma, you know. It's trying to, like, the
Mm-hmm.
but it chronically destroys your ability to connect with people. It chronically distances you from others. It chronically wreaks havoc on your emotional capacity. So yeah, yeah. Um, thanks for sharing that piece. I'm glad that you decided to share that.
For sure. I'm glad I was able to find it.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Great talking to you again.
You too.
All right. Let's take a second. We do have a couple calls on the line. Give it up for Mez. Thank you so much for sharing. We're going to take these calls. First, we want to acknowledge all the folks who are here. We have our chief resident Cage in the house. Little Ron the rapper is on the line right now with something to share. Ellie is here. Hi, Ellie. Great to see you again. Christopher's here. Frankie is here. Johnny, our poet, our resident poet, Johnny is here. Mez, who you just heard on the line, and Mr. Ant Capone. Thank you all for being here. And right now we're going to bring up Lil Ron, the rapper. Put your hands together, please.
And my name is, you guys might think this is funny, but actually another John was the one that picked it out. It's actually more of a joke. It's actually pronounced Little Rhonda Rapper.
Okay.
I spaced it out because I kept calling it Rhonda, so I turned it into a joke.
Okay. Well, sometimes you gotta roll with it, right?
Well, considering my mom was gonna name me Rhonda if I would have been a girl, so I mean, hey, she fits well.
All right.
But okay, so I've been in a relationship now since July 16th, and I love this girl to death. She's taking my soul, and I can't wake up in the morning without. And of course, she's calling. I'll catch back up with you guys in a few, okay?
Oh, word. Oh, he's just gonna leave us hanging like that. That's what's up. That's what's up. Hey, you know, love calls. You gotta pick up the phone. You gotta keep a happy home. You dig? He said the girl took his soul, and of course she's calling. So you know that phone was gonna get picked up. Yeah, you know that tone was gonna get picked up. Yeah, it wasn't gonna ring more than once. So lovely. Yeah, the loveliness up above in this. Yeah, we keep tugging the heartstrings that is. Yeah, that's cool. Little Ron the rapper. So should I continue the story or should we wait for Little Ron to call back in? Are y'all ready for me to continue? So I guess I'll go. So we're in that in between time of 2001 and 2003. I think symbolically, it's worth thinking about all the in between times that we have as I reflect on that time. The in between times when there's not quite enough space for you to complete the next step of your journey. There's not quite enough time for you to do the thing that you want to do. The in between time where it feels like you're just waiting. How comfortable can you be in that waiting? Like, to what degree can you maintain your sanity in that waiting? Maybe you are in an in-between time right now. Maybe there's something that you want to do that you don't quite have the resources at your disposal to do. Maybe you've taken the last step that you can take in the pursuit of a thing. And now you're in the in-between time. How do you deal with that? So 2001, 2003, my in-between time was tapping into my nurturing spirit. My daughter was born in 1998. So these were the years she was between 3 and 5 years old. And this was a point where she was really starting to express her personality. My days went something like wake up in the morning and start an hour-long ritual of just trying to get her hair combed, and having breakfast, and then going down, taking the elevator to the first floor of the apartment building that we lived in, and then walking down the hill to the waterfront, and walking, chasing after her as she always tried to get a little bit further away from me than I wanted her to be. Catching up to her just as she starts to engage a surprised group of people in perfect German. And then just watching her physically get bigger, physically get stronger. Seeing her being able to navigate ever larger pieces of equipment on the playground. Admiring her fearlessness at the top of the big slide. So I think in that in between, I was more present than any other time, because there was a level of uncertainty there that I could not, I couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything about it. So I just spent the in-between time as present as possible. So Derek Shepard is here with a cryptid message. I'm not quite sure exactly what's going on here, but Warrior is here. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for another session of the Writer's Room. Warrior, I did hear the poem that you posted in your cast. I don't know if you planned on sharing this evening, but we would definitely love to hear from you. But as the story goes, that in-between time was when 2003 happened. My unit was not selected to go, but one of our sister units was, and they were short. They were short-staffed, and they randomly chose people from other units to fill in their missing positions so that they could deploy with the full unit. And I was the only person chosen from my unit to go. I was the only one. So I was going to go with a group of people that I didn't even know. I was going to go with a group of people who had known for months in advance that they were going. And I literally had 2 weeks to get ready. I had to go. They had been getting different vaccinations and shots and all kinds of stuff. like over the course of months they had been preparing, I got like 6 vaccinations in one day to catch up. And I had to like get to know everybody during the weeks before we left. So I was completely disconnected. I was disconnected from the overarching story of why we were going, just because I had been away for so long and I wasn't plugged into that story. I was disconnected from the people who I knew in that context. I was disconnected from my fellow soldiers that I trained with every week or every month. You know, at that time, because it was reserves, I was disconnected from them, and you know, I had to figure out how I was going to deal with that. But in 2003, we rolled out, and I left my daughter and my fiance back in Germany, and tried to figure out how I was going to get by, just like emotionally how I was going to get by, because I was supposed to be done, but I wasn't. I guess the only thing that really sustained me, or what sustained me most, I mean, there was a lot of things. One, there was a lot of good people there with me, and I made some really good friends. They welcomed me with open arms, and they did their best to kind of take care of me, make sure that I was okay. But another thing that sustained me was the way that I had prepared myself in the in-between. I didn't have any regrets about how I had spent that time waiting. It wasn't like, well, I wished I would have spent more time with my daughter, or I wished I would have done this or that. I didn't have any regrets. And I guess that's really all that we can ask for. We're always in a place of uncertainty, whether we acknowledge it or not. And when we reach that point and we have to face things that we can't control, the only thing that we can really hope for is that everything that we've done up to that point is something that we can feel good about, that we can feel proud of, that we, you know. So I think I lived my life better during those 2 years than any other consecutive years of my life. My only regret now, some almost 20 years later, or it's not a regret. My only, the bad thing about that for me, I guess, is the fact that my daughter doesn't remember it at all. And that time with her sustained me, but there wasn't anything that I did during that time that could sustain her and our relationship. So we've had a journey. I mean, we're closer now than we've ever been, but we've had a journey of estrangement and pain and distance and misunderstanding. And there wasn't anything that happened during those early days that she could consciously draw from as evidence that I loved her as much as I do. But that's part of that thing that you can't control, and part of the thing that you have to somehow figure out how to move through, if that makes sense. So Warrior shared a a cast. Let's see, it was a few days ago that I found it, but I don't. Um, I'm not sure when you posted it, Warrior, but I listened to it. Maybe Sunday. I mean, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't have to be that. Just anything. I just would love for you, if you are up to it, and if you're in a place that you could do it, I would just love for you to call in and share your gift with us this evening. Give me 1 second. Uh-oh. We are back at the top of the hour, or at the top of the, not the top of the hour, the top of the music program. So that lets me know that we have a little over an hour left. And during this time, I want to we started talking about trying to find peace, and in the process of finding peace, we had a lot of conversations about the opposite, almost the exact opposite. Nevertheless, we can't truly experience a thing without knowing its opposite. So Warrior asks about the poem that I saw on her page and what it's about. I don't know what it's about. It's titled Poetry Time. I don't know what it's about. You have to tell me what it's about. Oh, what was it about? You know what you posted? Here's Warrior, folks. I'm sorry.
Well.
Yeah, I'm like, what was it about? You know what you wrote?
What entire night she was going on?
You gonna hit us with one? You gonna hit us with one, Warrior, or what? I was gonna ask you if you minded if I posted that poetry time link in our Discord if you were okay with that. We have a section called Featured Writers, and I thought it would be really groovy to include that work in there if you're okay with that.
And do whatever you want to do.
All right.
I'm trying to remember what the heck poetry time was even about.
Well,
I know there's a poem in there. I mean, duh.
yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out what poem did I read?
Well, it's okay. Just you have something. Just share something with us. Favor us with the selection.
Okay. Hold on.
You got to go to work right now or something? Or you?
No.
Okay.
No. Forget that job for a minute. Ain't nobody got time to talk about that.
All right.
The suicide one? No,
that's not a poem.
Huh?
That's not so much a poem. That was less of a poem and more of a sort of a conversation.
When the Music Left Me?
Yes.
That one?
I think that was it. Yep.
You know what? To be quite honest, I don't even know what the poem's about. I just wrote it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You asking me what it's about, and I'm like, I don't know.
Because I was trying to figure out which one you were talking about.
Yeah, the music. Yeah, it's definitely the one about music.
The music one?
Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all.
I don't know what it's about. I just wrote it.
Right. I'm sorry, y'all. I appreciate your patience. We're trying to get ourselves together here, trying to find this piece. It was published about 10 days ago. So I know, Miss Insanity, you're confused. We're all confused, but Warrior is going to be sharing a poem right now.
Yeah, right now I found it.
Okay.
You ready?
I am ready. We are all waiting.
All right. When the music left me, so did my soul. My pace was violated and gone was my control. I stood there in the silence with no words to be spoke. For the thing that made me whole was the same that left me broke. When the music left me, it robbed me of my senses, and now to feel is senseless. Look at all these misses. When the music left me, it took my strength. Dare I say it took my faith and my thrill for living. It was almost my fate. I can see the trail it took, for it left an echo, leaving evidence I can trace. But I only made it so far before the trail fades, and I'm left alone once again. Music is the match to the fire of life, but all that remains is ashes. And if you stir them, it'll make a swoosh sound, but nothing like those simple clashes. Yes, the music left me. The piano makes no sound. The kick drum doesn't match my heartbeat with each pound. The harp doesn't sing. Whatever. The triangle has no ring. The trumpet doesn't sound as we greet the morning. The violin doesn't scream with its strings played to the max. Music has left me in a wreck. If you hear the doorbell, that's just a bunch of rowdy ass kids.
I do hear the doorbell. I thought you might have needed to take care of that.
No, it's just the kids upstairs, and their mother can take care of them.
Okay.
Hopefully, if she's home. There you go. There's the poem.
Thank you thank you so much. I'm going to be sharing that into the featured writer section of our Discord. You can see the link on the screen right now. I didn't mean to yell at you and tell you to do it twice, but feel free to join the Writers Room Discord, and you will be able to hear Warrior recite that poem there as well. Thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you and your artistry.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
It was worth the disruption that we had to get it figured out. But I definitely, when I heard it the first time, I was like, I need to hear you read that. But it's been over a week, so it's like trying to remember exactly where it was. So
I knew what Cash you were talking about, but I was trying to figure out which poem I read.
Right.
So I was like, so yeah, at least it wasn't, what's the word? As creative as the very last one I read last time I was in your live.
Right. Creative isn't the word that you were looking for. I think the word that you were looking for was ratchet.
what they use.
That's the word that you were looking for. But
I covered all topics. Okay.
look, I didn't
Honored.
even find it there. I just found it extremely entertaining and very incisive. I'll say it that way.
It
So,
was interesting.
yeah. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you.
You're welcome. You have a good night.
So next up, we have Mr. Ant Capone. I don't know, is Ant Capone? Are you there, Ant? Johnny, we definitely need to hear from you. What's up, Ant Capone?
What's going on, beautiful people? I appreciate y'all, you know what I'm saying, for sharing, and I appreciate you for letting me on, buddy.
Hey, no problem, always. You got a home here.
Man, look, I ain't here to share no work or nothing like that at this point.
Okay.
But I'm here to share some news for the most part. I'm on Amazon Music now, and I'm also on stereo.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be branching out and doing a whole bunch of things in the near future. So you might be getting a friend request for me or some things of that nature, like on all these platforms. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like right now is the best time to share my thoughts far as my social commentary goes. Like, it's about to get cold outside. People are going to need content. I'm going to be working, but not as much. So I'm going to have a lot more time to dedicate to the content at hand. You know what I'm saying? But even if I didn't have the time to dedicate to it, I'm finna put my all back into podcasting and casting itself. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, I have been bullshitting to the maximum capacity. And I haven't been doing my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My audience base has been growing somehow. You know what I'm saying? Over my last few casts and podcast itself. I feel like I'm getting my footing again when it comes to speaking with the people. So I feel like right now is the time to go full speed ahead, because I see you guys doing y'all thing out here. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta get out here and do my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little jealous. I don't say it out loud. I'm a little encouraged. I'm a little jealous out
right.
here. You know
Right.
I'm out here doing y'all thing and shit.
Look, I'm not even gonna look, Ant. Don't I know, let's not even pretend that last week's Sunday Bumps didn't do a little something to you.
Yeah, hey, you know what I'm saying? It did a little something to my soul. I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? He just crunked the Sunday Bumps out early and shit, and I was like, damn, all right, then.
Freestyle about 45 minutes, gave y'all all the bars y'all need.
Went hard in the paint. You know what I'm saying? And I was happy for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
on the inside, though, you know what I'm saying? I was like, damn, though. You know what I'm saying? He's shining and shit. You know what I'm saying?
got models rocking my merch.
Yeah, I was like, oh, man. Sunday Bumps. on the t-shirt and shit. God damn. All right, man.
Yeah.
I see how we doing it now. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I did. I had you in mind. You a big motivation for me. I have you in mind for that type of stuff. I was like, let me do this for Ant.
You know,
For folks who don't
I love
know,
it.
I used to build my whole day around messing with Ant Capone back in the day when he used to podcast every day. And I built my whole day around when I could call in and mess with him. So it is. So we have like this mutual friendly rivalry, competition / motivation for each other. It's all love, but like you said, it's it is what it is.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, man. Most definitely. You know what I'm saying? And really, I honestly can say that I appreciate the relationship we have. You know what I'm saying? Because you have pushed me, you know what I'm saying, to do great things. You know what I'm saying? And shit, I can't lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you motivate me in a whole bunch of ways. You know what I'm saying? There's some shit that I usually wouldn't say. But you know what I'm saying? You motivate me in a whole bunch of ways because the way you move, you know what I'm saying? Like a whole bunch of people don't move the way you move, and I can dig it. You know what I'm saying? Like you your own person. Like you carve out your own lane. You know what I'm saying? And you
Right.
do your shit according to how you want to do your shit. And you don't let no person dictate how you gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So I can dig it for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, you in your zone with the poetry and, you know what I'm saying, the videos and, man, movie making, all this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing. And you ain't even let nobody push you out your zone despite whatever the fucking circumstances was. Like, even when, people wasn't listening, like you said, you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker had tens of fans, you know what I'm saying? Not hundreds or thousands, just tens of fans. And the motherfucker was just doing it out the love. Motherfucker wasn't doing it for the money or doing it for no notoriety or no shit. You were doing this shit out the love. You built that shit, you know what I'm saying, from scratch. And I can dig it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
so
respect,
I had to
man.
call in and just share, a little good news, man. I'm finna be, doing my thing out here, man. I'm not finna take up much more time because I know people got shit to share. But I had to call in, man, because I don't really call in to people's stations. Y'all know that shit. You don't hear me on everybody's station. You know what I'm saying? If I call in, that shit important. So, it is what it is, bro. Thank you for letting me share.
Hey, thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate it.
For sure.
Ant Capone, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, there is definitely there is an aspect of this where I know that me showing up here every Friday at 9:00, and even if you come maybe one out of every 6 or 7 times, you know that this is somewhere you can come. And you know that if you come here, you got an idea of what kind of experience you're going to have. I take a lot of pride in that just kind of being here with you, for you, and providing this experience. And I also understand that for a lot of people, there are things that you have to kind of get through in order to get where you want to be. And I go through that, and we can be here for each other. So I definitely appreciate all that Ant Capone brings to the table. And he's a really creative and entertaining and engaging person to listen to. If you haven't followed him, make sure that you do whenever he gets back in the room. His connection is sometimes spotty, so I don't know if he's in here right now. I guess he's still here. But if you do see him, give him a follow. So Miss Insanity is a bit shy when it comes to writing, but I encourage you right now. This is a great opportunity. If there is something that you feel like you might want to share, if you want some feedback. The line is open if you would like to call in. We would love to hear from you. But of course, there's never any pressure. There's never any pressure. We are 1 hour and 33 minutes in to session 25 of the Writer's Room. And for those of you who are new to the space, welcome. If you're not sure exactly what goes on here, this is a space where we get together every Friday at 9:30 or 9 o'clock Eastern time. My bad, 9 o'clock. We're here to share and connect. So next up, we have Johnny.
Hello.
Johnny, welcome on.
How are you? Thank you. I just want to thank Ant Capone, like he said what we all think about you. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So,
Well, I appreciate you. I know that you said that you felt like a little apprehensive to share. There's a lot of great work being shared tonight, but did you have a piece to share, or did you just
I have a piece to share, but yeah, like I told you, I don't know if they're good as the other pieces, but
well, this isn't. Anyway. Well, fortunately, this isn't a competition, so
yeah, I know, yeah. But
otherwise, we might all be in trouble, right?
That's right. Okay, I'll share it. Cover your face, the end is near. Be nothing, be empty, be dark, be fear. Quieten your voice, close your ear. Be stuck in the now, imprisoned in the here. Cover your face, forget the time. Be hopeless in a world where hope is a crime. Praise for solitude, sharing is a sin. In life you never lose, but you could never win. Cover your eyes, nothing is real. Hear despair knocking, uncover what you feel. From the well of darkness, drink a cup of wisdom. From the essence of sacrifice, write the story of a man called No One, breaking that system.
Okay. All right. I like the consistency of your imagery. I like the way that you set the metaphors up and delivered on them. Especially, I was a little bit when you said imprisoned, it kind of jumped out at me. But then when you resolved it by mentioning crime, then that drove it home. So you did a great job of setting up and then delivering and closing all those open loops. And open loops are really sort of the key to making your writing compelling. Whenever you open up a loop with an image, and you stretch out until it gets just a little uncomfortable, and then you resolve it by kind of matching that metaphor the way that you did with well and drink and crime and in prison. Like, you do a great job with that in general. And I guess one of the ways, and even when you came down to the end of the poem, you stretched out, you created a little bit of tension by breaking your rhythm at the end, which I think is also a powerful technique that you can use. So great job.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. I have another short one.
Yeah, because Cage is upset because he missed you.
Oh.
So you can read another one so Cage can at least get a little taste.
Oh, yeah. I always respect the Cage opinion. Okay. Ignite the fire of self-esteem, then dive into the land of dream. Write a poem, write a song, start with a verse. Create your word, create your word, be diverse. Inside, between the pillars of creation, lose yourself, find your imagination. Believe in light, in darkness immerse, shine while holding the poet's curse.
Mm. Okay. You good? You good, Cage? You good?
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much, Johnny.
Okay. Thank you for letting me share.
Absolutely. All right. We have Christopher up next. What's happening, Christopher?
I'm going to read what I have so far for the 3 to 5 minute speech.
Okay. All right. Let's hear it.
What is the Spoon App? The Spoon App is a radio broadcasting that makes speeches easier to give. The broadcasters are called DJs, and I'm not only to share, but also work on creativity.
Okay.
The White Tooth Room is one of the broadcasts that I go to on Friday from 9 to 11 Eastern Standard Time and 7 to 9 Mountain Standard Time. What is the White Tooth Room? And that's all I have so far.
Okay. Well, that's a great start. And I guess since we recorded Save This Cast, and I think you also recorded, you can have my answers that you can refer back to write the next part and trying to say what it is. And also, it might be useful too, not just to ask me, but just to kind of ask in general to anyone who is a part of the community. If you just want to put a call out in the Discord and let people give you quotes on like what the writer's room is for them. I mean, I know what my intention is, and I think that everyone has their own experience with the space. So not just my perspective, but also other people who use both the broadcast and also the Discord. So that might be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not sure if you heard something from earlier in the live.
Say what now?
I'm not sure if you heard something from earlier in the live.
If I heard something from earlier?
The thing from earlier is not only to share, but also work on creativity.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. From that, yeah, from your earlier, the first part that you subscribed, and also what I said at the beginning. Yeah. It's kind of how I opened it up.
That quote from you, and also mention you a couple times in the informative speech.
Well, I'm honored to be included in your speech, and I'm glad that you are, yeah, making use of this space. So cool. Keep practicing and keep working on it. We're looking forward to hearing the finished product.
I am glad to be a part of the White Room and getting help with writing the informative speech.
Well, it's definitely my pleasure. Thank you so much. Everybody give it up for Christopher, aka Flipper, if you're looking at the usernames on here. So I heard tell they talking about a rapper's room. Made me make it seem like maybe I feel like maybe I need to do something right now. Y'all putting that word out there. You know, it's nothing. I might go classic on y'all if that's what we need to do. I think that I started with a story, and I got to the most important part of the story, the part that I wanted to tell now, I guess. We started talking about peace, and then we were talking about the uncertainty of the in-between times and imagining and recalling those times in between where it's not clear what moves you can make, and less clear what moves you should make, and how we cope with those in between times. And I think the key to our ability to heal and our ability to find some level of happiness is if we can find peace in those in-between times, where we're not quite where we are going to be, or maybe we don't even know where that is, but we can just kind of hold space with ourselves, with things that matter, and and not freak out. Be less bothered, I guess. If we could be less bothered, that would be awesome. I'm going to go ahead right now, and if you're watching on YouTube, we are going to wrap up the YouTube broadcast. We still got about 15 minutes left here on Spoon. So if you're on Spoon, we are still here. The lines will be open. The YouTube broadcast is going to be coming to a close, and we are